Welcome to the Modern Stock Car Cup Tour. Here in race number 9 out of 26 in our second season, we go to another super speedway. I call it the big ol' rectangle here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Brickyard 400. Boy oh boy is it going to get interesting here in what I like to call one of the most influential tracks in racing. Of course, as you know, the Indianapolis 500 is held here, along with the Brickyard 400, among many other races in many other divisions. On the pole this afternoon, we have Armin Salvador. Armin started second at Martinsville, but ultimately didn't do entirely too bad, finishing inside the top 10. He's looking for redemption today, as the streak looks to be kept alive. If you don't know what streak I'm talking about, we've had 8 races so far in this season, with 8 unique winners. With Santiago Alvarez starting second, does the streak end today? Let's listen in to the driver command.
Drivers, start your engines!
So everybody's going to get started up now. All 42 cars entering the field. And with everybody getting the move on, let's take a look at the starting lineup. On the front row is Armin Salvador and Santiago Alvarez. Row 2 is Darian Arnsdorf and Creed Daniel. Row 3 is Doug Doring and Ian Koram. Row 4 is Bradley Rhyme and Ryan Adema. Row 5 is Gustav Adolf II and Stephanie Larson. Row 6 is Jay Monin and Christian Coppola. Row 7 is Dan Wilkins and Agristo Papageorgis, your winner at Watkins Glen. Row 8 is Nelson Reeves and Vincent Crook, making his MSCCT debut. Row 9 is Jacob Thibodeau and Dakota Bennett. Row 10 is Ethan Mitchell and Winty Wolf. Row 11 is Brady Wilmington and Arthur Xavier. Row 12 is Brooks Bergensmith and Nolo Hamilton. Row 13 is Jay Bird and Tim Moore. Row 14 is Patrick Starr and Faris Khalil. Row 15 is Kyle Driscoll and Mitchell Collins. Row 16 is Leo King and Luis Aguilar. Row 16 is Greg Shatner and Emilian Nielsen. Row 17 is David Iller and Carl McKinney. Row 18 is Kęstutis Ramonas and Dante Lemieux. Row 19 is Wade Driscoll and John Buckford, and I clearly missed a row because this is actually row 21, I apologize. But it's Andre Peters and Chase Buck starting last. Chase Buck is only starting last because he had issues in qualifying where he spun in turn 3 and had issues saving the car. So while everybody else basically qualified with a 45 or a 46, he basically qualified with a 52 because he was having issues with the car. So coming off of turn number 4, it's the native of North Carolina, Armin Salvador, in the pole position in that Chevy Chevelle, the number 52. Alvarez, the native of Argentina, on his right. We head to the start-finish line at the Brickyard 400. Green flag. Oh, everybody's starting to move a little bit. This is already an interesting start as Armin gets a good advantage going into the corner. Armin getting a good run off of turn number 2. Alvarez is starting to chase him a little bit. And everybody's getting real squirrely. Jay Monin jumping all the way to the inside. They might even go 4 wide going into the corner. Oh, this cannot end well for anybody. Like Dante Lemieux is starting to gain some spots. And so is Chase Buck in the number 19. He is saying, I've had enough of staying at the rear end of the field. I'm going to go back up to the front. I'm going to at least try. It reminds me a lot of that Homestead back in the second race of the season where he pitted on the pace lap because he had issues with his splitter. And, well, we got a wreck behind us. It is Wade Driscoll and Andre Peters tangling up, and the caution is out. Andre Peters and Wade Driscoll getting a little bit tangled up there, and that does bring out our first caution. I believe they are going to race it back to the line, so Armin Salvador is your race leader. Coming off of turn number... is this turn number 4? Yes, this is turn number 4. They head back to the stripe. Armin Salvador, your race leader. So as they did race back to the line, let's take a look at what happened to Andre Peters and Wade Driscoll there see what in the world happened, because obviously there was a bit of a conflict there. But let's take a look from the hood of the number 8 car. So it was actually Kęstutis Ramonis that sort of started it. As you can see here, Wade and Kęstutis sort of just get in it, and then Iller bumps Peters out of the way. And that, once again, brings out our first caution of the afternoon. Let's take a look from the hood of the 75, or actually from the cockpit. I'm getting a little bit crazy here. Let's take a look. See, after the damage is done, he can just move along as he pretty pleases. But very interesting how it's working out here in the early laps of the Brickyard. I believe there was also something else developing in turn 3, as Winty Wolf is staying out, but everybody else is coming into pit lane as we have our first yellow flag pit stops of the afternoon. Weather for today in Indianapolis, 61 degrees. Got some cloudy skies, but regardless, everyone is showing up for the lovely race here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's take a look at these pit stops, see how they turn out. I'd like to see how they conspire. See, the advantage that Chase Buck has is that he's starting his pit stall at the rear of the field. So if he has a good pit stop, he has time to work back. And look, there is Doug Doering making it in. Christian Coppola is going to win the race off of pit road. Christian Coppola wins the race off of pit road in a shocking turn of events. He is your new race leader. Ryan Adama second. Armin Salvador dropped from the lead to third. Very interesting pit stops. Did Chase Buck really gain any positions? No, he's still way at the back. Actually, he's not even leaving pit road yet. Still some guys on pit road, though, like Jay Bird, Kęstutis Ramonis, and Wade Driscoll, which is understandable. And I stand corrected, the leader is Winty Wolf because he is the only guy that actually stayed out. So does that mean that Winty Wolf will, like, run out of gas on the restart? Yeah, there was something here in turn 3. Hold on, hold the phones. I want to see what happened in turn 3. Because we know there was the caution, right? Yeah, there was that, and then something else happened in turn 3, which I did not see. Because there's nothing there. Do we move back a little bit? Maybe this is why Jay Bird is on pit road? But I didn't see it. And I'm not that good with seeing things, I'll be completely honest. Yep. Whoa. Oh, Chase Buck just completely dumped... who is that? That's... Chase Buck dumping Bird? Yeah, Bird and Buck tangled. So I didn't even see that, and I guess that's why Chase Buck is basically at the rear of the field right now. And I was confused as to why the 15 was on pit lane, but that makes sense. And I had also seen the skid marks in turn 3, and I was like, what in the world happened there? So essentially, we had a caution because of Ramonis, Driscoll, and Peters. But then Buck and Bird, after the caution had waved, made a wreck of their own, luckily not really involving too many cars except for themselves. But right now, Winty Wolf of Wolf Racing is his single car team with Christian Coppola behind him with their team. Ryan Adama third, Armin Salvador, who was the pole sitter, is now in fourth. This is going to be very interesting, especially since Winty Wolf was the only driver who stayed out. We will be back after this from the Brickyard 400. So very interesting turn of events here from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, as during these yellow flag pit stops, only one man was daring enough to stay out, and that is the number 3 car, of Winty Wolf. Winty Wolf has sort of had a quietly good season so far. He hasn't really made much of a name for himself. But if we take a look at the standings, he is currently actually running in... If I take a look here... He's running 19th in the point standings with 2 top 10s. Now, those top 10s were at Darlington and Homestead, not in that order. But still, he's now in the lead with Coppola behind him, who hasn't done much better this year. Both of these guys need redemption if they want to win this afternoon. Headed back towards the bricks, the flagman eagerly awaits, and we have a green flag. The leader always seems to have a good jump on these restarts. The question is, will that be sustainable for Wolf? Arnsdorf peeking to the inside of Alvarez, but really nothing to do. Arnsdorf jumping to the inside, so does Ethan Mitchell and Wilkins. They really get squirrely here on the backstretch. But Wolf seems to be running well. Now they start to spread out into single file racing, and that makes you worry. Is this how the rest of the race is gonna file out? There's Vincent Crook, who's currently running 13th in his first race, mind you. This is his first race in the season, and he's already running well. So is that a sign of what's to come in the MSCCT career of Vincent Crook? I don't know. Is it a sign of what's to come in the rest of the race? I don't know. He qualified well. He seems to have a lot of talent in the race car. He's been waiting a while to make this opportunity, as Stephanie Larson really was swerving there like she was in a Tokyo drift. She's running 10th right now. She's eager to get to the front of the field. While we're at it, let's take a look at the hood of her car. So leading the lap once more is the 3-car of Winty Wolf. The question is, though, if there's another caution flag, it would make it very much an ill-will decision for Winty Wolf to have stayed out on that first caution. Because you know at some point, if we have a long enough green flag stint, we'll have green flag pit stops. So if that is the case, then you have to wonder, well, then what does that entail for the 3-car? Being the only one that stayed out, Christian Coppola is in the best position to take the lead. Because Winty Wolf was the only guy to stay out, and Coppola had the best pit stop and the best pit strategy to literally go from around mid-pack. I believe he started around 15th, and got himself to the front of the field just like that. You know, just like a quick snap of the hat, and he's now in second place for a guy who hasn't really done too well this season. Coppola right now is sitting 28 points. He did not move anywhere after Watkins Glen, but literally the man is still absent. He only has 1 top 5. That was at Daytona. And remember, at plate tracks, anything is possible. We saw Ryan Armstrong hit the top 10 despite being a lap down and following with the rest of the pack. And now Winty Wolf does go to pit lane. That is really a big game changer, and now it's a drag race back to the start-finish line. It is Christian Coppola, the race leader, after lap 10. And now Adam on the inside. Adam was your race winner at Martinsville. You wonder, for a guy who's an actual sprint car racer in the Southern Sprint Car Shootout, and now he's slowing. He got really slow, and now he's losing positions. He's still gaining speed, so he's not out of gas, but he's really making his fans worrisome about what the heck happened there. And Bradley Rhyme's going to go to the apron. He'll come back across the racetrack, and he'll avoid a wreck. That was some incredible driving there from the number 40 of Bradley Rhyme. Let's take a look at that. You can see right here, we saw that with our own eyes. He tried to come down on Dakota Bennett. He turned him, and he just came right back and just missed Dakota Bennett. What a lucky turn of events for that guy in the number in the number 40 car, and for Dakota Bennett, since he almost basically came right across the nose and almost took him out. There's Winty Wolf now leaving pit lane. If this is not an example of... Oh, speaking of examples, we have a caution out on the racetrack. Let's get to there. Brady Wilmington all torn up, and Tim Moore is in it as well. Both of these cars were involved in a huge accident. Oh, did Faris Khalil go upside down? I was just about to focus in on these guys, and I probably should have. Did Faris Khalil just stop? Oh yeah, he slammed on the brakes. He slammed on the brakes and then went upside down. Then Brady Wilmington got in it. He had pretty much a clean flip. But, oh my goodness. Wow. Let's take a look at that on the replay. I want to see what happened to Faris Khalil, too, because he went from 170 to 100 in a second. Now, oh, wow. Torn up race car, really. What a shame. And Faris Khalil, you gotta wonder, did he lock the brakes up going into a turn? Let's take a look. If I'm being honest with you guys, I would have to ask a car expert or something if they knew why that happened. Because he was going into a corner and he essentially just locked the brakes up. Now the question is, will we see more pit stops? That will be the case. And now Ian Korob will stay out. Definitely interesting, as now basically the entire field, except for Korob, will go down pit lane. Korob currently being scored as 10th. And Winty Wolf being scored as 42nd. So let's take a look here. Christian Coppola will go into his pit stall. Now let's see who wins this race off of pit road, shall we? This is going to be a contentious race off of pit road, if I say so myself. Very contentious race. I think we might have our guy. No, that's Doug Doering, essentially coming in last. Let's see, does Coppola win the race? No! Armin Salvador takes the race back, and he takes the lead back after having an incredible pit stop, beating Coppola off of pit road. He goes into second. Arnsdorf third. Papa Georges fourth, gaining 6 spots. Creed Daniel fifth. Ryan Adam 7th. And then Arthur Xavier with an incredible pit stop, gaining 9 spots from 17th to 8th. Great pit stop for him. But, however, you have to consider Ian Korob is now being scored as the leader. So does this mean that we have some sort of drastic lead change where Korob goes to pit lane? But in any case, Armin Salvador wins the race off of pit road, but will now settle into second because the 07 is in the lead. We'll be right back after this. So while we were on break, the 07 and the 3 did go down the pit lane, so Armin Salvador, as I had suspected, does reclaim the lead, with Christian Coppola filing in the second, Arnsdorf third, Papa Georges fourth, Creed Daniel fifth, Ryan Adama sixth, Arthur Xavier seventh, Stephanie Larson eighth, Dakota Bennett ninth, and Jay Monin 10th. But Armin Salvador, I mean, the only guy, there's, in the top 10 right now, Salvador and Coppola haven't won, but Arnsdorf won at Walt Disney, Papa Georges won the last race, and Creed Daniel won at Darlington. Adama won at Martinsville. Arthur Xavier hasn't won, neither has Bennett Larson or Mannen. So it makes you think, the top two have not won a race yet. Does this mean that the streak gets kept alive? We do not know. However, what we do know is that we are headed back to the stripe. We will go green on lap number 17. Green flag. Witchy Wolf already getting a good push, even though it doesn't really matter that much because he is a lap down. Maybe even multiple laps down if we're being honest here. Salvador gets a great run off the corner. Yeah, Salvador definitely getting an incredible run there. Bennett getting a little bit squirrely. Same with McKinney and Nielsen. Adama getting squished up against the wall a little bit there. They're 4 wide in the corner. This cannot end well for any of these guys. But it does seem like they file it out a little bit. They seem to be fine. Doug Doring, unfortunately, due to a bad pit stop, he drops to 34th. Now, that was just due to bad pit strategy. That was the only thing. So, as we file back to the front, seems like Armin Salvador is now having a blockade in front of him. Or behind him, I should say, as Winty Wolf is 39th, but he's serving as a barrier between first and second. As now Darian Arnsdorf and Christian Koppler are going to battle it out for the second position. Let's take a look from the hood of the 98. And you can see here even the 44 and the 28 are battling it out, trying to get something going. Now they're starting to run a little bit more single file, but I think if you're Christian Koppler right now, you just want Winty Wolf to get out of the way so that you can go into second and maybe even snatch the lead. Because Koppler's doing really well. For a guy that's outside the top 25 in the point standings, and both of these guys aren't even in the top 15 in the point standings, this would have an entire huge shakeup to the championship lottery if that were the case. Now finishing lap number 20 and moving on to lap number 21. It's going to get interesting. It's going to get dicey. Stephanie Larson on the inside of Arthur Xavier, although we have seen today, looks like the outside line does seem to reign superior here at Indianapolis, and even by outside line I mean more middle lane, since nobody's really used the outside line that much. It's just been more of an issue of, you know, it's existent, but it's not really too much of a worry for anybody to have to be concerned about. Armin Salvador still in the lead by a somewhat lengthy cushion, as we see from our starter stand, or from our spectator stand here, crossing the Brickyard stripes on lap 21. I just think right now, if the 3 car doesn't get out of the way, it's going to be a huge frustration for the 31 of Christian Coppola, because they're trying to get there. Even if the 3 car wasn't there right now, it probably wouldn't be too much of a difference, but at the same time, the 3 car is helping the 52, even though he's a lap down. You know, I don't think there's really anything inherently wrong with the 3 car staying around. But just like how in Darlington for the Southern 500, we saw Creed Daniel absolutely dominating in the lead. Now, he's actually running in 6th right now. But one of the interesting notes about him, as we see some pit stops. We do see about, I'd say, half the field going in. Christian Coppola will reclaim the lead as Armin Salvador, the race leader, goes down pit lane along with Doring, Arthur Xavier, Jay Monin, Vincent Crook, among others. Let's see how this plays out. But like I was saying, at Darlington, it was more of an issue of when we saw this sort of stuff happen, it was a matter of the fact that Creed Daniel was pulling away and the 87 was helping him in the drafting. Now, I don't know how much of a factor it plays at Darlington, per se, but it did, I think, in my opinion, help the number 28 of Creed Daniel have the most dramatic and the largest margin of victory in league history with a 9.66. Who left in front of him? Winty Wolf did leave in front of him. That probably would help Salvador a little bit, or it would actually hurt him because he's not, you know, getting helped. Take a look on pit lane now. Now the other half of the field. So whoever wasn't in there before, like Arnsdorf and Coppola, now they're basically just sharing, you know, sharing pit stops and stuff like that, which can get interesting and also can get dicey if you're not managing your time right. Let's take a look at the race leaders right now. You can see they're just filing out and they're finding something, but Salvador now coming off of 4, as these guys still aren't done their pit stop. They gotta beat the leaders off of pit lane. Will they be able to do that? Some of them won't, some will. I don't think many will, though. Yeah, many won't, but Christian Coppola still has a fighting shot. Will he be able to beat the leaders off? Perhaps. Does he make the block? Yes, he does. Now, the question is, how do they score this? Actually, Salvador is going to take the lead back. That is interesting, though. Salvador does take the lead back, which definitely a slingshot pass there for Armin. Boy, oh boy, is it getting interesting. Coming off of turn number 4. What will they score it as? What will they score it as? Oh! Oh my goodness, they're actually scoring... What are they... They're scoring the 52 in second, and they're scoring the 07 in first. I guess his pit stall was ahead of the start-finish line, so it made it a little bit controversial. But now look at Vincent Crook. He's running in the top 10 with an unsponsored car, unupgraded car. He's, you know, unaltered, and he's fine. So I wonder after this lap, I would bet that they would give Salvador the lead back. The question is there going to be another caution that will throw this race completely in the air? They are now scoring. Salvador is the leader, Christian Coppola second, Darian Arnsdorf third. And a really interesting story about Darian Arnsdorf here. He has had such a dominant season, and this is why he is the points leader. Because he, on this type of track, has been proven to do at least somewhat well. He wrecked out at Daytona, finished 29th. Finished one lap down, was the first car not on the lead lap at Homestead, and it was 22nd place finish for him. But then after he won that race at Walt Disney, everything changed for Arnsdorf, and now he's one of the most successful drivers in the entire league right now. He's just so incredibly good at what he does, it's not even funny. So he won at Walt Disney World, and then proceeded to finish third at Darlington. Then I believe he also finished, he also finished fourth at Charlotte, I believe, fourth at Charlotte. And then after that, at Martinsville, he finished second at Martinsville. Then at Pocono, he also wrecked out, where he finished, also, I think, 28th, I believe he finished. Don't quote me on that. Then he finished third at Watkins Glen. No matter what type of track it is, he had had 6 top 10s this season. Or, excuse me, 5 top 10s this season. 5 top 10s in 8 races is not unprecedented, but it's definitely surprising for a league where starting off in the season, most drivers are on par with each other, as compared to you have set front runners, you have set mid-pack drivers, you have, you know, set back markers. Because in a normal league or in a normal NASCAR, somebody like Vincent Crook, who is making his first race, would not have the extreme possibility that he does of running 6th right now and running at consistent speed with the rest of the pack. It's really impressive what he does and how he delivers himself, and I think that's really impressive. But in any case, getting back to Arnsdorf, 8 races, 5 top 10s, but I think even the more absurd thing about Arnsdorf is that he not only has 5 top 10s, he has 5 top 5s. So that means in every race where he has finished inside the top 10, he has also finished inside the top 5. So there has been no point this season where he has finished anywhere in the positions 6 through 10. He's either checkers or records, that sort of thing. And he only has 1 race win, so does everybody else, because remember, the streak is still alive, and the streak is very much still possible with Armin Salvador in the lead. But with Darian Arnsdorf winning at Homestead, not at Homestead, that was Jack Husky, at Walt Disney, that was the 3rd and final leg of the Florida Swing. So as that was going on for Arnsdorf, it really made it very interesting to see what was going on with him, to see how it was working, how he was making progress, and it made sense. It did make sense. But when it comes to the fact that he's probably destined for another top 5, currently running 3rd, so unless he has a terrible pit stop or he, you know, just tragically wrecks out late in the race on lap 30 as of now out of 48, I wouldn't suspect that this wouldn't be anything different. Right now, he is in the points lead. He has an 81-point lead over the guy in 2nd, which is ironically enough me. Let's see where I'm running right now. I'm currently running 11th behind Dakota and Nolo Hamilton in front of, who am I in front of? I'm in front of Mitchell Collins. But as we cycle through the field here, let's take a look at some stories that we've seen here. As we said, Armin Salvador and Christian Coppola aren't exactly your regular front runners. Christian Coppola finished 4th at Daytona after, remember, a lot of people DNF'd in that race, and he was just very lucky because he started near the back, and, you know, he didn't really have... Oh, Armin Salvador! Armin is going to pit lane, and so is, once again, about half the field. Vincent Crook is going to be in there, Jay Monin's going to be in there, Arthur Xavier, so they will once again rescore Christian Coppola as the leader on lap 32. But Christian Coppola is right now 28th in the points, and his only real highlight has been that 4th place finish at Daytona. Otherwise, too successful. But I would say when it comes to the other races that he's had, he hasn't been all that terrible. So let's see, Armin Salvador is finally into his pit stall. Everybody else making their way downtown, walking fast in a homebound, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And now Coppola is going to pit lane, and so is Arnsdorf and Adama. It's really interesting how basically the pitting is offset. And Salvador does beat out Papa Georges this time off of pit lane. So Salvador wins the race off of pit lane in this cycle, and it looks like Arnsdorf is still in there. Creed Daniels making some moves. Ryan Adama making his pit stop right there. If we take a look at the leaders right now, looks like Salvador has a pretty good lead, although this could spell essentially disaster for, are they going to score him as the leader or no? No, they're scoring him as 18th. They're scoring Question is he gonna, like, beat him off the pit lane or something? Hold on. Camera's all messed up. Oh, does he do it? It's gonna be close. I don't think he's gonna get back up to speed in time, no. Because he's going, remember, as you're leaving pit lane, you can only go a certain speed on those little off-ramps or on-ramps, whatever you want to call them. So he's going 20 miles an hour slower than Salvador is, so I'm not too surprised that for the second time in this race during green flag pit cycles, he's managed to sort of fiddle his way there. Now, what Coppola needs to do on his next stop, if there is a next stop, is he needs to really, really manage his pit stops well. Maybe do only fuel. Maybe do 2 tires and no fuel. Do something of a more unusual combination, because if he wants to win this race, he's got to outbeat Armin Salvador. So they're not even scoring him as the leader right now. Who are they scoring as the leader? I'd like to know who they're scoring as the leader, good sir. Who are they scoring as leader? Can't even tell. Oh, they're still scoring Korab as the leader because he came in late. Now Armin is back in the lead, so it's been interesting how they've done that with the pit stops and everything, where it's just been a real mess, if you ask me. Where one time they show Coppola as the leader, one time they show Korab as the leader, because Armin and the rest of his guys, like Papa Georges, Arthur Xavier, and that, they come in at a different time rather than Coppola and the rest of his crew, like Arnsdorf, Adama, Vincent Crook, Jay Monin, and the rest. Keep in mind, these guys are literally going about 200 down the straightaways. This is more Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Indy cars and the Indianapolis 500 is more of their speed. Let's take a look at the hood cam of the number 43 of Arthur Xavier, currently running 4th, set for an upset finish. Currently running about single file. You wonder, with 12 laps to go, or lap 36 out of 48, you wonder, is it going to change the dynamic of the race a little bit if there's another green flag pit cycle? We remember at Watkins Glen, it was a battle of beating out the leaders. This has been very similar, where Christian Coppola and his crew have had to figure out a way to try to beat out Armin Salvador in the race back to regular race pace. And they just haven't really succeeded in that to this point. But Augusto Papa Georges did something very similar at Watkins Glen, along with Greg Shatner. If you remember that Watkins Glen race, they pitted going to the white flag. So they took the white flag at like 40 miles an hour, you know, instead of at 150 or whatever speed they do at Watkins Glen. But it was definitely interesting because then everybody else, like Gary Arnsdorf, was so far behind that they just had to beat them out. They had to have a pit stop, and that's exactly what they did. And that is why Greg Shatner finished second at Homestead, Watkins Glen. I keep saying Homestead, like it's in my blood. It is Watkins Glen. You would have to think there's going to be at least either one more caution or another, like, green flag pit stop cycle, at the very least. And remember, right now, Darian Arnsdorf is still running fifth, so he is technically still eligible for his thing here of six top fives in 9 races. Nice. That would be a really nice streak for him to have. Now you wonder, the guy in 37th is Brooks Bergensmith. Does the fact that he's running a lot slower, does it have an impact like it did at Daytona where the racing line, the racing surface that was preferred for drivers was really thin. So that's why you saw a lot of the leaders at Daytona, they went to the outside line. You have to wonder if that was a factor. Coming off of turn number 4, headed back to the stripe. Brooks Bergen-Smith not really anywhere in sight as of now. But of course, that can all change as we are on 9 laps to go. But if we think of the pole sitters for races as compared to the winners, there hasn't really been too much success. The pole sitter at the 500 wrecked out. That was Santiago Alvarez. Then the pole sitter at Homestead, which was Richard Birmingham, also didn't do too well. Pole sitter at Walt Disney was able to Marco, who was third that day. Darlington's pole sitter was Creed Daniel, who won the race from the pole. Then the pole sitter at Charlotte. Oh, there we go. There we go. Green flag pit cycles once again. Their crew is going to go around. Now, either Salvador needs a really slow pit stop, or Coppola needs a really good pit stop, or both. Both can occur in order for that to work. Now, I really think what they should have done is have both Coppola and Armin come in at the same time. Because if you have that, if you have this one lap sort of cycle that you have to go on, if Coppola just pitted early once, it would have been a lot better. And it would have been a lot better for the teams as well, who are just trying to make their moves. Now, I would assume, as of now, there come the rest of the guys. Armin beats out Papa Georges. He also has Vincent Crook, probably who's going to move in the third if there's no conflict. This might not be good for Darian Arnsdorf, because he might have to move out of the top 5 now, which that would put his godlike streak at risk. And it's not even a streak, it's more of just a hot, more of a hot couple of races that he had. There's Arnsdorf now getting his tires done. And Coppola leaves. He does beat out, does he beat out Adema? Yes, he does. Question is, what do you make of it for the rest of the field? There's the rest of the guys having their sweet old time. Take a look here at the rest of the field as of now. They're scoring Salvador 9th. I would assume they would score Coppola as the leader. Oh, he might beat out Salvador. I think that he beat out Salvador if he. Oh, did he make the pass? Yeah, he made the pass on the inside. So Coppola almost had it. As I had said, he needed to beat him out in order to take the lead back, or put on some, some sort of Kurt Busch style block. And I don't think Coppola would have cared if it, ticked off Armin a little bit, because it would have gave him the lead, and it would have been great for the 31. It would have put them in victory lane, but now they failed at that opportunity. They need a caution here to make something work. Had said before, the caution is back out on lap 43. Brooks Bergen-Smith dropping too much debris on the racetrack. That brings out a caution on lap 43. Headed back to the line, Salvador is the race leader. Coppola second. Papa Georgia third. Vincent Crook fourth. Darian Arnsdorf back in fifth. What else do we know? We're going to keep it here, at least for now, unless I change my mind, but there's Ian Korob, who, that's an interesting story for him, but man, oh man, I honestly thought that the streak of 9 winners in 9 races, if I'm being completely integral with everybody here, I thought that the streak would completely just die out today. Because remember, last year it took 8 races for us to have a repeat winner in 22. This year, the closest bet we can get is Papa George's winning back-to-back races, which that's not even guaranteed. If there's, they just pitted too, so there's no need for them to pit again unless they make some sort of last-second adjustment, and I doubt that they're going to pit again. Let's see. No, the field will essentially stay out, although some guys are going in. Jay Monin is going in. Jay Monin is being scored as 8th. He's going in, and Lindsey Wolf is being scored as, what is Wolf being scored as? Being scored as, not, I would assume not well, 38th. So the top 8 guy, Jay Monin, he's now going in the pit lane, and I don't really know why, if I'm being honest. I don't know why he's going in the pit lane, because I thought this guy just pitted. Unless he's done. Yeah, he's done. He just went to the garage straight up. I think that Jay Monin just quit. That's another DNF for Jay Monin. And we are getting word that that is also part of the reason why the caution came out. There was debris issues from both the 74 and the 60. So issues with both cars. Oh boy, oh boy. Armin Salvador and Christian Coppola in your top 2. Agristo Papa George's 3rd. Vincent Crook 4th. Darian Arnsdorf 5th. Arthur Xavier 6th. Ryan Adams 7th. Nolo Hamilton 8th. Mitchell Collins 9th. And then Dante Lemieux finally getting that opportunity. The 79 is in 10th. We are on 4 laps to go, under caution from the Brickyard 400, thanks to a late debris caution for one of the back marker cars, which was Brooks Bergen-Smith. And Jay Monin also went to the garage with some mechanical failures as well. We will be right back after this. It's a thriller from Indianapolis. So right now we're just going to check in real quick. We want to check in on the pace car. Because if the pace car's lights do not turn off after this lap, then that would mean that the race is over. Because it would end under caution. But if the pace car's lights do turn off, then that would mean that we would go green with 1 to go. So let's take a look. This is a big thing here as they cross the start-finish line. Lights are off. The lights are off. We will go green in a 1-lap shootout in the Brickyard 400 here for the Modern Stock Car Cup Tour. As we cycle through the field, Armin Salvador first, Christian Coppola second, Agristo Papa George's 4th, Vincent Crook 5th, Darian Arnsdorf 5th, Vincent Crook 4th, Darian 5th, Arthur Xavier 6th, Ryan Adams 7th, Nolo Hamilton 8th, Mitchell Collins 9th, Dante Lemieux 10th, Dan Wilkins 11th, Greg Shetner 12th, Bradley Rhyme 13th, David Iller 14th, Jacob Theodo 15th, Mitchell Collins 16th, Emilian Nielsen 17th, Doug Doring 18th, Gustavino II 19th, Dakota Bennett 20th, John Buckford 21st, Creed Daniel 22nd, Luis Aguilar 23rd, Andre Peters 24th, Leo King 25th, Wade Driscoll 26th, Patrick Starr 27th, Kestudis Ramones 28th, Jay Bird 29th, Chase Buck 30th, Carl McKinney 31st, Santiago Alvarez 32nd. That's going to be a huge hit to him. Nelson Reeves 33rd, Ian Korob 34th, Winty Wolf Brooks Bergen-Smith 35th, and Winty Wolf 36th. I cannot... I would say that I would be lying if I'm not on my toes right now, because it is a very exciting race. Give a quick shout out to Ryan Adema for reworking the LP files for this track and making this exciting race possible. That's why he might be in the top 10. He's doing really well. He designed how these AI cars race. They will drop the white flag and the green flag. So instead of the green flag waving, the white flag waves. One more lap to go from the Brickyard 400. It looks like they're basically running single file. The question is, though, will there be any passing that could make this ending any more interesting? Gustav. Oh, Ryan Adema jumping to the inside. So does Papa Georges. Coppola is not exactly there, but if he can jump to the inside one final time, he might be able to make a move. I don't think it'll work. No, it won't exactly work. Coming off of turn number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, the streak lives on. Armin Salvador wins. Armin Salvador wins at the Brickyard 400. How about that? What an exciting race. So a very exciting race, and as we said, the streak lives on. 9 races, 9 different winners. Dan Wilkers, Jack Husky, Darian Armstrong, Santiago Alvarez, Ryan Adema, Doug Doring, Agristo Papa Georges, and now Armin Salvador, the native of North Carolina, will go to victory lane for the first time in the MSCCT. Your top 5 is as follows: Armin Salvador, Christian Coppola, Agristo Papa Georges, Darian Armstrong, and Vincent Crook, followed by Ryan Adema, Arthur Xavier, Joel Hamilton, David Miller, and Greg Setter. So ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for Race 9 of the Modern Stock Car Cup Tour. We'll see you guys on the short track next time for Bristol Motor Speedway. This is Dan Wilkins signing off for now. We'll see you guys next time.